Everybody get up, no need to cram now. We got a real jam going down, going down, going down, going down, going down, going down. Welcome to the IntelliJAMS.
Happy Monday, dude.
Happy Monday. I think it's your turn to choose a topic. So, Adam, what do you want to jam on?
Also, dude, before I throw out a jam topic, you didn't comment on my new background. I've got a new beautiful brick wall behind me.
True.
I'm well lit.
We've got the lights going.
I no longer have the mirror window situation behind me that I used to have.
The infinite loop of the mirror into the screen, just going forever and ever.
Those were just windows. We were just looking through windows. But I finally, new background. So
I love it. Rob has been calling you out every single time, so he's gonna have to give you some praise on the new lighting background situation.
I hope Rob approves. Rob approval is what I'm going for. All right, dude.
All right.
I'm excited to jam. Yeah, it's the beginning of the new year. Something that we've been talking a lot about as a company, as a mentality that we want to use within Intelligems, but I also see this as a mentality that our customers, I think, would benefit from, is bias towards action, not letting perfect be the enemy of good. What do you think? Jam topic?
Definitely a jam topic. This is one that I personally strive for a lot. Like, I love constant motion. You only learn as you're moving towards something. So not letting perfect get in the way and having a biased action, I think, is very important to how we operate here at Intelligems. But I'm curious to get your thoughts on, I agree that this is applicable to our customers and people who are experimenting as well, but I'd love to get your thoughts on how do we apply those same principles to experimentation, testing, D2C?
Yeah. I mean, even broader, if I think about how do we do profit optimization? How do we make your site the most effective version of what it can be? The answer is there is so much breadth. There's a million things that you could do. And so whenever I'm talking to a brand, I'm like, have you guys tried doing personalization? Either, I don't know, based on an email campaign or an ad set, or based on a known preference, based on a quiz. That's a lot of work. We haven't done it. Or have you tried removing discount codes and moved towards all automatic discounts to prevent code leakage and a better customer experience rather than having to input a code? It's we know we should, but it's a lot of work. Or, we know we should test our discounts, but we haven't gotten around to it. So it's there's so many things. And actually what I think I hear is that it's not that any one of those things is too much work, but when they think about the sort of breadth and this entire set of things that could be done, there's a little bit of paralysis because it's where do we start? And so something that we've been talking a lot about internally too is let's not let perfection be the enemy of good. Let's not spend all of our effort planning and spend some effort planning and a lot of our effort doing. And I think that if you start somewhere, that is a really good way. I mean, it's 2026. Let's get the ball rolling. Let's start somewhere and start with something and get moving on it.
I think that's interesting. I think there's two pieces. So yes, in terms of profit optimization, there is so much breadth. You can go kind of attack that anywhere. So I think you hit on one thing, but I think there's another piece to this as well, where do I start? There's definitely paralysis in terms of hey, there are 20 places I could start. And now I'm going to try to evaluate the 20 and pick one. And people get off to a slow start there. But even once I've chosen one of those, it's when you're talking about having a personalized experience from an email campaign or from a specific ad campaign, it's once I choose to do that, I send out 25 emails a month. I have 50 active ad campaigns. Even the work within that first decision, there's the crawl, walk, run component of that as well. So I think maybe I'll start with the paralysis on getting started, where it's hey, I have these 20 options. I think you hit on it with don't spend all your time planning and evaluating, just get going.
Yeah.
What would your advice be for I don't know, everyone. This isn't even D2C advice anymore. This is everyone. We're now in 2026. There has been so much planning. Everyone's talking about like what's going to happen this year. And now it's time to go. Where do you go?
I mean, I think the first thing is like, trust your gut, right? Like, I don't know. I'm an intuitive person. I'm the kind of person that likes to shoot from the hip sometimes. It's actually something that Drew and I have been talking about. One of our biggest differences is like Drew loves to have a lot of information to make a decision, and I like to just sort of like wing it. But I think that like oftentimes we end up in a similar place, at least 8 times out of 10 or 9 times out of 10. And I think that like most of these decisions, it's not that important that you got it right. So like the first time. And so it's okay if your first swing isn't a miss, it's still a learning opportunity. That's something that we've talked about before on previous pods. Like there's no such thing as failure. It's all about learning.
Yep.
And so like start with what your gut tells you. Is like, if you were to shoot from the hip, if I had a gun to your head and said, hey, what would you do first? You have to decide. Probably something that like you've thought about multiple times. You've probably thought about, hey, what if I spin up a couple landing pages for these ads? And if you have 50 ads, you don't have to go spin up 50 landing pages. That's a lot of work. You could spin up 1 or 2 for your highest traffic ads. And like, if it doesn't actually make a difference, then
don't do the
let's
rest.
go for it.
Then just walk away from it, right?
And if I were to make an analogy to something that we're talking about, like a conversation I had earlier today was, we have a product that has like some feature parity to a competitor and others like where it's missing. And we're trying to get people to move from that competitor to IntelliGEMS. And it's like, before we go try and like bridge the gap on maybe the 60% of merchants that we don't cover all the use cases for, what if we start with the 40% that we do cover the use cases for and see if actually like that transition is worthwhile? Because if it's not, then why would we go build the feature parity if they're not going to transition anyway? Why would we do that? And so start with what you can do, what you can execute quickly on, and give you a signal. Learn something about. Like, this is that 1 or 2 ads instead of all 50. And then if it works, and it's okay, fodder to go do the rest of them. And if it doesn't, then okay, let's move on. We learned something. We're not going to do the rest of them.
You said something there with like you're like, oh, wing it versus like some of the, I think this is one of the reasons that we get along so well. It's like we're both shoot from the hip kind of wing it people. So we might lean a little more there in this discussion, but I like what you're saying there, like lean on intuition. Everyone has an idea of where they should be going. And like, I think even if you don't have that intuition, going into 2026, everyone has a goal in mind, or like there's some sort of high level goal or some high level direction that can eliminate most of those 20 options we were talking about, right? It's like, hey, if this is the goal, where can I go work inside of these 20? Maybe it's like 5 now, and now I'm like making an intuition decision on like 5 rather than 20. So I think like just knowing what that goal is going to be, I've split like, I don't know, what are we, like a few days into the new year, most of my conversations so far have been around like, oh, this year our goal is profitability, contribution.
Right.
Like I'm hearing a lot of that. So it's like, okay, if that's the goal, where are some of these areas for personalization, experimentation, where I think I can target those things? Okay, now I've like actually I can make a quick decision to go do something that can potentially impact that goal. And like you were saying, if it's, I need to do 50 things, don't worry about the 50 things at the beginning. Just pick like high traffic, high impact, like high visibility, like something where you can get the signal quickly, and then crawl, walk, run. Walk is like, hey, we saw a signal. Now let's do 10. Hey, that's still working. Now let's do the whole portfolio.
Yeah. I think that's a really great approach. Also, like been using this term litmus test, which I think is related to your thing. It's just like, we also, like probably most companies that exist today are using OKRs as a framework. And so I don't think that like, obviously everything we try and do is to like maximize value. But again, doing something is better than doing nothing and just being stuck in a planning phase or like analysis paralysis. And so use a litmus test, which is, if I do this thing and it works, does it move the key result that I'm trying to move? Does it move my profitability? Does it move my conversion rate? And if the answer is yes, try it. And if the answer is no, that's probably something that you shouldn't try. But if we talk about some of these best practices, like testing your free shipping threshold, building a personalization based on what you know about someone, based on their referral source, or based on the email that they click through. These are all things that are generally seen as best practice. If it's going to move the thing that you're hoping to move, then try it, test it. And worst case scenario, you learned something. It didn't work. And fortunately, you didn't spend a lot of time deliberating about what you were going to do, and you can move on to the next thing.
Yep. And again, like there's no failure. There's just learning. You learned that's not the thing to do. And I think like one thing that I come across a lot too is like, so this first part is, hey, I have so many options, I don't know where to go. I think another thing I hear quite often is, I have this question or I have this decision that I need to make, and I want to go validate that, or I want to answer the question, but I feel like the problem or the thing is just too big. So I'm like, oh, I'm not going to touch it because it just feels like it's too, like, it's even just too much. Like, I don't have too many things, but this one thing is really big. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to put it on the back burner because like, I don't have time for it right now. And I've been using this analogy of like, go nibble at it before you take the big bite. So like, anytime I've been talking to our customers or just like brands lately is, hey, okay, what is that big thing? What is that big question? What's that big decision you want to validate? And it's like, oh, how do we break that into a small learning we could get? So kind of the same in practice here is like, how do I get enough signal to go chase that in this big thing? So how do I dissect that large thing and then turn it into, I could instrument like a test or a personalization. I could do something that would tell me that's at least I'm going in the right direction before I take the full bite.
Exactly. That goes back to the same example that I gave with Intelligems. Like, actually, there's like some sliver of our customers that we don't need to do any development for to make this thing work for them. So like, while we haven't solved every edge case, we have solved 20% of the cases. And so let's go see if like this works for those people without like going and figuring out how to make it work for everyone. And we can now, like, with very little investment, go like validate that it's worth making us the investment. And if it doesn't work, okay, great. We're going to pivot. We're going to invest in something else. And that's what, like, I don't know, I'm full of sayings today. I spoke to an investor recently and he said, shoot bullets, not cannonballs. And what he meant by that is like, a bullet can be very precise. You can hit a bullseye with a bullet. It doesn't take a lot of firepower to shoot that bullet really quickly and to know whether or not that bullseye is like the target you're trying to hit. Cannonball by design requires a lot of fireball, but you don't have to be very precise about it. But we can afford to be precise. We live in a digital world. We have a lot of data at our fingertips. Let's go act with precision and be very precise and use data and experimentation and in a very like iterative mindset there.
I think that's really important is, I mean, to plug IntelliJAMS here is like, you can act quick, but be precise, right? Like I can take a lot of shots, and I know that when I go and do this, when I evaluate it, I'm actually seeing the truth, or like I'm getting a clear view as to what actually happened. So like I can afford to take those shots.
Yeah. Great.
All right. I think like
maybe to wrap,
good. Yeah.
Maybe to wrap.
Go.
How about we each come up with like 3 suggestions that if people want to try them, they could. This is not by any means like the best, the top, but I can go first because I've already been thinking about this. I'm going to do 3 things. Number 1, test your free shipping threshold. And if you don't have a free shipping threshold, you should definitely introduce or test introducing a free shipping threshold. Use a progress bar, merchandise it, because just having a threshold itself isn't as powerful as letting people know how close they are, not when they're before they hit checkout. So first is free shipping threshold. The second, test a free gift with purchase for MLK Day. If you're going to run an MLK Day sale, my guess is that not every brand is using a free gift as the sale. I think that free gifts are a really powerful tool. We've talked about this before. My mother-in-law bought a stacked yoga mat for my wife for the holidays, and she got like a free mat cleaner and was like ecstatic about the free like mat cleaner spray, which I'm sure is like a $2 add-on for them, and made my mother-in-law very excited. Test free gift. And then my third would be test sending people from a dedicated landing page to a product page. I think that dedicated landing pages are really good at storytelling. Product pages are what people actually care about. And so I think there's a good reason why for any different brand or any specific set of traffic, either could work well. But if you haven't tested a PDP versus a dedicated lander, I would test that.
Love it. To build on that one, I would just say like try new landing pages in general, like collections. I've seen people succeed by sending to specific collections or like scoping down the entire product catalog into like the best sellers. You can even play around with like, hey, I'm going to put some of my like less expensive items on a collection page with a really expensive one to try to get some like price anchoring effects on there. So just like try different landing pages. Second one I have been telling everyone to do is like try charging $1 more, $2 more for shipping. Like you probably can get a little bit back here without having a meaningful impact on conversion. That one seems like it can potentially be free money. And the last one isn't something to test, but something that I think everyone should do because it will help inform some of the things that we've been talking about is like get your COGS on a per product basis into Shopify, into Intelligems so that you can actually see which of these products are going to be the most like if this year people are focused on contribution margin and profitability, have your costs associated with each of these products. So when you send them to a PDP or a collection page, like are people actually buying the products that are making me the most money?
That's a great one. So easy to do too.
All right, everyone, give some of those a try. Don't get stuck between the 20 different options. Use intuition, get going with something. The answer to that first question. Yeah. And share what works. Share what works with us. Put it in the comments, share it with others. But yeah, just go. The only thing that's wrong is to stand still and do nothing.
And as a hockey fan, I'll end it with a Wayne Gretzky quote. You miss 100% of the shots you never take.
And as the Canadian who doesn't watch hockey, I'll attribute that to The Office instead.